Hey, Marc, welcome to the show.
Jason, thank you for having me. It's great to see you today.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. My name is Marc Beckman. I am the co-founder and CEO of an agency in New York City named DMA United. We exist in style and design. We extend specifically from style and design into fashion, art, music, sports, and entertainment.
Wow, that's an awful lot. So are you an accidental agency owner, or how'd you guys get started?
Not so accidental. We began the agency. It's kind of an interesting story, actually. My business partner, Sam Sohaley, he's our executive creative director. He comes out of the luxury sector in Milan, specifically on branding and advertising, and launched a small boutique agency in New York City at the time. And I hired him to help me with my branding and advertising for a cosmetic company that I had at the time. Ultimately, I sold the cosmetic company to Christian Dior, and we joined forces and built DMA United. So we've been doing this together now for about 25, almost 30 years.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, you have some pretty somewhat well-known people on your client roster. Did you get them right off the bat? Well, a lot of agency owners are always wanting to get the bigger and better clients or the well-known brands they can kind of brag to their colleagues and that kind of stuff. How did you guys start getting bigger clients and moving upstream?
To be honest with you, we are the worst self-promoters ever in history. If you look at our client roster and think about the size of the agency today, it's incongruent. What we've done is we focus on the work. We keep our nose to the ground, Jason, and we just deliver good work. We manage expectations and over deliver. We're very innovative. And that's been our strategy. And I think the work speaks for itself. The companies that have come on board, whether it's Sony Music, Warner Brothers Entertainment, Pepsi, they see what we've done over the past few decades. And that's how we've been building the agency, just on good work.
Who was your first marquee client? How far out was it when you guys first started?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest clients we had coming out of the gate was a brand from L'Oreal called Kerastase, the hair care brand. And essentially what they did was, it's a French brand that they own. And when they were launching Kerastase Nutrisculpt in the United States, they asked us to kind of Americanize it. So with a campaign that was like more in traditional media, traditional formats at the time. I don't even think we were using digital media back then. We really focused on that brand first. And we were able to build certainly within the beauty, hair, and skincare sector with L'Oreal as a client.
I know a lot of times our mastermind members and other agency owners, they'll get into one company and then the CMO will leave to go to another company or their contact goes to another. Is that how you guys kind of just started spreading your wings of going, hey, or start with L'Oreal, that person left and went to somewhere else and then brought us to that and so on over the years?
So that's been a big help for us for sure. We've had some CMOs that have been with us now for their entire careers. One of them, in fact, calls us her secret weapon, and she brings us from entity to entity. But, on the reverse side, Jason, I'm sure you've heard this too. It hurts from time to time. We do great work for a particular brand. And because our ally, the CMO, moves on, the new CMO comes in and they're looking for their own team. So that it's a dual-edged sword, right? Sometimes it's great and sometimes it just kills you.
What have you seen that, because there's a lot of people listening, including myself over the time. I remember we got in bed with the CMO of Aflac many years ago. And then we're like, we're golden. We were golfing together. He was like, you're our secret weapon. And then he was like fired the next week. I'm like, damn it. And then the new CMO comes in and you're kind of toast. Is there anything that you've seen that you guys have done to kind of, what would you say to the new CMO that you've seen that works?
Yeah. What we've tried to do to overcome that type of a negative situation is create certain products that are beyond just pretty pictures. I think that there are a lot of talented agencies out there when it comes to creating campaigns. So what we've done is we've specialized in, for example, emerging technologies and have provided services on the programming and engineering side that are pretty unique. We do that with regards to blockchain technology, Web3 whole ecosystem, crypto and NFTs, also with artificial intelligence, both on the creative side as well as on the data analytics side now. So we've tried to create a type of addiction to the agency where there's value beyond just pretty pictures.
Yeah. What are you guys doing with AI? It's been out for a while. You've been around. A lot of people still think AI is just ChatGPT. So what are you guys doing with AI to really kind of separate yourself?
Yeah, well, it's really twofold. It's content creation, like the creative process, but also data analytics. On the data side, I think it's stronger right now. So in the fashion lifestyle categories where we exist, it's very difficult for executive management at that CEO, CMO, COO level to really analyze their data and react in real time. Companies as big as LVMH, for example, have roughly 6 to 7 different data sets that they're looking at when it comes to marketing and the products that they're selling. And what happens is they bring in data analysts, and the data analysts are looking at the data, usually reporting back to executive management in 3 to 4 weeks. And then the executive management pivots. Well, at that time, they've already lost the advantage of the data. So what we're looking at is creating something on the data side that's plain English in real time and allows for a CEO or a CMO to say, hey, we put this campaign into paid social. How's my budget spend acting as it relates to TikTok versus Reels, or is it paying off? And in real time, they can move monies and allocate monies to optimize their efforts. They don't have to wait for the team of analysts. That's a great benefit.
What tools are you using to kind of go through the data and let you guys know in real time?
On the whole performance marketing piece of our business, we've had data analysts, like a data analyst arm and strategic alliances that we've been using. And it turned out that these guys were actually trained in artificial intelligence. So what we did was we partnered with them to create a tool that we call Fashion AI and Beauty AI that is specifically looking at the customer journey. So think in terms of like before she knows she wants the product all the way through post-product acquisition, returns and all. And it's pretty straightforward. It's a system that we built with these guys. To be honest with you, it's not that proprietary. It's just a great tool that we're able to use. I'm not a tech guy, although I'm in the middle of it in a big way. I'm a marketing guy. And that's where we're getting, I think, a lot of value on the data side. But I have very mixed feelings with regards to marketing and data. I feel to a certain extent that if you follow the data too much, you're a little too vanilla and your brand really isn't going to get to stand out. So that's where the creative side comes into play. And I think the artificial intelligence piece allows for us right now to create efficiencies in creativity. They're fantastic. Time, money, and volume. But there are a lot of, I think to your point, there are a lot of deficits on the creative side with AI too. And that's why our agency isn't 100% using AI for content. We'll do it to scale, but then we come in at the end and we're fine tuning everything still within the agency to make sure it's at that superior quality level.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I ran a report out of our CRM and we pulled, I think, 20,000 people that jumped into the agency playbook. And we always ask when they buy, why do they invest and what are they most excited about? So I was like, man, we got 20,000 data points, or actually times that by 40,000 data points to put into AI. And I wanted to be like, what are the most common things? And all the AI tools I used basically just kind of just took random ones. Like it wasn't even put together. So I was like, I was getting so aggravated. So I'm still looking for a really good AI tool to kind of crunch the data and be like, hey, like these are the 5 things that you should really, like people are most excited about, they struggle with. So
yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's algebra. At the end of the day, generative AI is predicting and it's algebra. And we're in a world right now where people think that there's such a risk of AI taking over and killing mankind, and we need to overregulate and something might happen. So the government should come in and regulate now, although they don't know why they're regulating algebra yet, because nothing's happened that's bad yet. So it's a tough time. It's still very early on in AI, but there will be a lot of changes. In fact, I think that AI will change the world to a certain extent in years to come.
Well, yeah. I mean, and think about agencies get paid to solve big problems. Or the bigger the problem and the faster you do it, the more you get paid and the more that people constantly come back to you. So if you can get a competitive advantage and figure out these solutions faster, well, why wouldn't you? I played college tennis. And so I always made fun of my friends that would say, I'm going to go play pickleball. And so I started playing pickleball last week. And like some of these old people are like destroying me. And so now I'm like researching every competitive advantage I can do to destroy these people. So it's the same thing in business. Why would you not try to look for that advantage in order to really kind of take it up a notch? How are you using it on the creative front? Because that's pretty cool. As long as it doesn't come back with 6 fingers on a hand.
It does. It does. I mean, so for us, the biggest need in the fashion lifestyle categories is to become a significant player in the content narratives that's applied mainly across social media. And my clients are saying, look, we used to need 6 fantastic images per season for a campaign. Now we need about 1,000 per month. So what it allows for us to do is create a real segmented approach. We can say for client X, we want to talk to a specific, very narrow focused demographic profile, and we could hit all of those different demographic profiles that we want to hit, psychographic profiles that we want to hit, speak to them in a very specific and targeted way. But at the end of the day, it's wonderful that it allows for us to create, both video content and still photography. But like you said, we do end up with 6 fingers from time to time. It's predicting. And it's a shortcoming. So that's why we put everything back into the agency at the end, fine tune the creative.
One of the most stressful things about running an agency is proposal. It feels like controlled chaos, right? You rush to get them out the door with complete accuracy, just hoping you don't miss something crucial. One wrong move could lead to costly mistakes or possibly not landing the deal at all. That's why I'm excited about Smart Pricing Table. It's an award-winning proposal software built just for marketing agencies. Now, it's designed to handle your unique challenges and cut down the time you spend on proposal as much as 90%. With Smart Pricing Table, you're going to turn your crazy process into a smooth, predictable system that works for you, not against you. Oh, and by the way, the creator is a former agency owner and a past mastermind member, so Smart Pricing Table is built with the right strategies behind it. Say goodbye to the proposal stress and hello to confidence. Go to smartpricingtable.com/smartagency to see if this is the missing piece your agency is looking for. Plus, just for the listeners, schedule a demo and get half off for the first 2 months. Check out smartpricingtable.com/smartagency. Yeah, I mean, it's only going to get better and better too. That's the cool part about it. I was going in my CRM and drafting an email, and then it had a new feature in there. It was like, generated an image. I'm like, gave me a prompt, put it in. The guy looked like a Terminator. It was kind of funny. I was like, that doesn't look real. But I was like, I know it'll get better and better over time. So.
Yeah, but I think the human element is still paramount. Generative AI is great to predict. So if you want to take that image that you developed, this Terminator image, that's fantastic. And maybe it's a one-off. But when you start to get into really fine art, song making, poetry, it's the human spirit that propels mankind forward, right? Like we could create a revolutionary song in the style of Bob Dylan, but I don't think a computer or algebra can mimic the creative value that Bob Dylan brought from understanding the 60s, understanding that moment in time, what people were struggling with and what they wanted. And I think it's always going to require a certain human element, whether it's using AI creatively for words, for images, for film. We'll always need the human touch to make it a little bit more emotional.
I just read something or saw something somewhere where it was Randy Travis. So Randy Travis is a famous country singer. I don't think he can talk anymore. I think something's wrong with his throat, and he's older. And he just released a new song, but it was all AI. And they just put his whole voice and all his songs into this machine. And then it just came out. I haven't checked it out. I want to now, the thinking of it, because I heard about this a couple weeks ago and I was like, oh, I need to look into it. Yeah. But it is so scary. There was a song, it was like by Johnny Cash, but he was singing like Barney or something. And it was really pretty, it was pretty spot on.
There's a great company that we're working with called Respeecher, and they're probably number one or number two in speech to speech AI as well as text to speech AI. Mm-hmm. And this is important because it will allow for celebrities like Randy Travis to get some scalability. I mean, let's face it, a lot of the celebrities that we tap from the music industry for celebrity marketing campaigns, they want to be on their couch, right? They don't always want to work maybe as hard as other people do. Mm-hmm. And this will allow for them to be in multiple places, put into campaigns with their digital double and sound exactly the person is. You could train the digital double to have the knowledge that individual wants in a pretty compelling way. So check out Respeecher. It's an amazing tool that we've been using for text to speech and speech to speech artificial intelligence.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I saw a video the other day and this guy was like, look, I can automate my podcast daily. So what he has is he would go through this like news feed and he would highlight 3 different news feeds. And so then he had it all programmed where if he highlights this one or books market, it creates a Google Doc. And then he would do that 3 times. And then the Google Doc would run through ChatGPT to come up with headline and a description and general like summary of the thing. Then he actually ran it through a text to speech, and then he would pick the tone. So, and he could pick like 10 would be like really monotone. 1 would be right like way out there. So he'd like kind of figure out the right one. And then he actually programmed it where it would actually push it to iTunes. So all he had to do, and this was in his voice. And then it was a quick podcast. It wasn't like a conversation back and forth like this. And I really think what he was doing was like, if you want the highlights of things, I think that's good. But AI is never going to create the relationship and the connection like you have with chatting with people. That's why when we're going to me, they're like, oh, your business is in jeopardy. I was like, no, people always want to connect with people. They don't just want to put it into a computer. So don't worry about that.
It's an interesting thing, right? Because you're looking at new tools that will unlock a bigger legion of creators and then more content. And then brands are going to keep trying to break through all of that noise, Jason. So I guess the question that I have for you is, if you're a brand, is it really about storytelling anymore? Or is it really about capturing the attention and creating some kind of like a cultural facade on social media platforms within 5 seconds? Right? Like your brand now is going to be sandwiched between a Budweiser ad. Let's say your fashion brand, right? It's going to be between a Budweiser ad and an influencer teaching you how to put on makeup. And I'm doom scrolling and all of a sudden I hit your ad. I got about 3 to 5 seconds to get your attention. Is that even storytelling anymore? Like, where are we going with all of this massive content creation, new tools with AI? I think more legions of creators. What do you do if you're a brand?
Well, I think I'll go back to what Tony Robbins said maybe 10 years ago. We're starving for wisdom, but we're drowning in information. And that's never more apparent than it is right now. For example, I was chatting with my team last week in our meeting, and we all said, think about like when you're watching TV and a commercial comes on. What do? You start scrolling through that mindless, all the shorts. And then hour goes by, you forgot about the show on the TV because you're going through. I hate that. And so does my whole team. So what I do now when I'm watching TV, I actually put my phone in the other room so I can't do that. So my prediction in the next couple of years is there's always shifts, right? I think right now it went from long form to short form. Like we're all in the quick little thing. Like you can't tell a story in 60 seconds. I mean, it's really get their attention and then you try to move them on to something else. But I really think it will go back to long form. I think I can't stand Instagram right now. I can't stand, don't even get me started on TikTok. But I know brands and people are making tons and tons of money on that. But I really think it's going to go back to the long form content that people look at. The Kelsey brothers, that podcast, New Heights. They got paid $100 million for their podcast over the next couple of years. And it's long form. I think now they put short form content to bring you in and that kind of stuff. So I think that will always be there. But the short form content's like killing my mind. That just me personally.
But even as it applies to when you talk about the Kelsey brothers and podcasts, like long form podcasts are so enjoyable for me personally. And I think brands could benefit from some interesting, go back to the old fashioned branded entertainment, right? Like when our parents' generation or even our grandparents' generation, they would sit around that box in their room, in their living room, their TV.
Go to radio.
Get there. Yeah. And it was truly branded entertainment and you would create an emotional connection with the consumer. So podcasts could do that. But I like what you did where you said, are we getting information or are we getting wisdom? And I guess the question that I have for you is also then, because that's like an interesting thing. I don't have enough time to keep getting information. I'm working nonstop. I have my family. I got a lot to do. I want just wisdom. So how do brands find a way to cut through the clutter and provide their target customer, the target audience with wisdom? Right? Like I think from an agency perspective, just to answer my own question, but I'm really genuinely curious what you have to say about it. Like maybe the idea is to deliver wisdom about the product's attributes and everything else in a different way, in a different setting. Maybe there's like a bifurcation that's going to happen with the delivery of information to a customer base where you hit them with exactly what they need when they need it. And that's it. I think we're kind of there already to a certain extent, but we're going to see another shift to your point.
I mean, that's why I've been doing the podcast for a decade. It's other people's stories. It's storytelling. It's a connection. People relate to it. And even going to myself, I love adventure sports and off-roading. Like here's an example for a brand that actually sold me a lot of products for my Bronco or my Jeep. I literally started watching this video on YouTube, long form content. It was like this adventure and I've created videos like this too, and it works. Like these people went from the East Coast to Moab, Utah.
Cool.
And they filmed it and they documented it. And all through it, they were like, man, like they were going through this rock crawling at night and they had these cool rock lights underneath the vehicles where you could see the rocks so they don't fall off and die. I was like, oh, I need that. So then I bought that. And then they had these lights that light up
Wisdom.
Right at night.
Brand wisdom.
But I'm watching this story unfold, like this reality show. And then they're just doing product placement throughout it, going, this is what I like. This is what I don't like about it. And that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, can't buy this.
True branded entertainment, connecting you in a way where you can have enough intellect, knowledge, wisdom to go ahead and purchase and utilize those tools.
Yeah. I love to make stuff. Like I love to build stuff. So I'll watch a video of someone building a shed and then I'll be like, oh, I could do that. And I just built the shed, right?
That's
like,
wild.
but I followed their plans and then all that kind of stuff. Like Home Depot should be doing that, like putting out that kind of content.
I agree. So what's interesting is that artificial intelligence can definitely help agencies kick off very specific, targeted, like wisdom-oriented campaigns, but we're still not there as it relates to quality assurance. So you're going to have to check the content, even whether it's text or spoken. You're going to have to check the content as it relates to visuals. But this type of shift or disruption is something that I'm looking forward to, especially like a New York City guy. It's just wild here right now. And whereas you walk outside, you probably have some nature and you could maybe even see stars.
I don't see anybody. I go out in the field and I go pee and no one would see it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's amazing. I go out in the wild here in New York City and everybody's peeing on me. So this is where like the idea of slowing down and having a shift with regards to content coming my way is attractive.
Look,
Long-form content is attractive.
we all know in New York City, you could be on fire. No one would pee on you. They just keep walking by.
Very true. New York, when was the last time you were here?
Well, a couple of years ago, I was born in Long Island. And so I'm a New Yorker at heart, especially when I drive.
That's good. That's a good thing. Where in Long Island are you from?
Port Jeff.
Oh, I know Port Jeff. Of course. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, Marc, this has been a lot of fun. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
I really want to thank you. It's been a pleasure meeting you today and being on your show. I appreciate your generosity. If anybody wants to check out my agency, we're DMA United. And
you have a book coming out.
I do. My new book is called Some Future Day. Artificial intelligence is going to change everything. And again, really, Jason, thank you so much for today. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. And everyone, go check out Marc's book. And if there's ever anything we can do for you guys running your agency to make it easier, create more freedom for you, that's the design. So reach out. We can help out. And until next time, have a swank day.